Join me as I dive into the impact of Trump's China sanctions and see if they really backfire on America. Trump's China sanctions were intended to level the playing field, reduce the trade deficit, and protect American businesses from unfair competition. The sanctions targeted key Chinese industries and restricted trade, aiming to bring China to the negotiating table and secure more favorable terms for the US. The central issue with these sanctions is that they may have unintended consequences for the American economy. Tariffs imposed on Chinese goods can lead to higher prices for American consumers, affecting their purchasing power and ultimately economic growth. This could also lead to a decline in consumer spending, which is a significant driver of the US economy. American businesses that rely on Chinese imports are also feeling the pinch, as the increased costs of tariffs are eating into their profit margins. The sanctions have also led to retaliation from China, with tariffs imposed on American goods, further exacerbating the situation. The impact of the sanctions on American businesses is multifaceted. Some companies are struggling to find alternative suppliers, while others are absorbing the increased costs, hoping to maintain their market share. The sanctions have also created an uncertain business environment, making it challenging for companies to plan for the future. This uncertainty is affecting investment decisions, potentially leading to a slowdown in economic growth. The sanctions have also had a ripple effect on the global economy, with other countries watching the situation closely. The trade tensions between the United States and China have led to a decline in business confidence, affecting investment and trade flows. The sanctions have also raised concerns about the potential for a global trade war, which could have far-reaching consequences for the world economy. American farmers in particular have been hit hard by the sanctions, as China has targeted agricultural products in its retaliation. The details of how the sanctions affect different sectors in the United States are complex. The agricultural sector, for instance, has seen a significant decline in exports to China, leading to a surplus of products such as soybeans and corn. The manufacturing sector is also feeling the strain, as companies struggle to find alternative suppliers and absorb the increased costs of tariffs. The sanctions have also affected the technology sector, with companies like Huawei being targeted, and restrictions being placed on the export of certain technologies to China. American automakers, for example, are facing challenges in sourcing parts from China, leading to potential delays and increased costs. The sanctions have had a significant impact on the United States economy, with some sectors being more affected than others. The retail sector, for instance, has seen a decline in sales as consumers become more cautious in their spending. The sanctions have also led to a decline in consumer confidence, which could have a knock-on effect on the wider economy. The impact on the job market is also a concern, as companies may be forced to reduce their workforce or postpone hiring due to the uncertainty created by the sanctions. The sanctions have also led to a decline in investment in certain sectors, as companies become wary of committing to long-term projects. One of the most striking unintended consequences of the sanctions is the impact on American workers. The sanctions have led to job losses in certain industries, as companies struggle to maintain their competitiveness in the face of increased costs. The sanctions have also created a challenging environment for small businesses, which often rely on Chinese imports to stay competitive. The situation is complex, with many factors at play, but one thing is clear: the sanctions have had far-reaching consequences for the American economy. The impact on the environment is also a concern, as companies may be forced to find alternative suppliers, potentially leading to increased carbon emissions. The sanctions have also raised concerns about the potential for a decline in living standards, as consumers face higher prices and reduced access to certain products. The sanctions have also led to a decline in the competitiveness of American businesses, as they struggle to absorb the increased costs of tariffs. The situation is further complicated by the fact that China is not the only country affected by the sanctions, with other nations also feeling the impact. The global nature of trade means that the sanctions have had a ripple effect, affecting economies around the world. The impact on the US economy is significant, with the sanctions potentially leading to a decline in economic growth and an increase in unemployment. The sanctions have also created a challenging environment for policymakers, as they struggle to balance the need to protect American businesses with the need to maintain good relations with other countries. The main points to take away from this discussion are that Trump's China sanctions have had unintended consequences for the American economy, affecting various sectors and leading to a decline in consumer confidence and economic growth. The sanctions have also created a challenging environment for businesses, with many struggling to absorb the increased costs of tariffs. The situation is complex, with many factors at play, but one thing is clear: the sanctions have had far-reaching consequences for the US economy. In conclusion, the impact of Trump's China sanctions is complex and multifaceted, with both intended and unintended consequences. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Please share your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other video on the trade war between the US and China for more insight into this issue.